Hey everybody, welcome back to Schlock and Schlock. I'm your host, Skills, and today it is January 2nd, 2023. I meant to upload this yesterday, but here we are. I've been very busy over the holidays, so I've unfortunately been away for a little while, but I am back. I'm going to be doing my 2022 year in review video here, as you can probably tell by the title. This is going to be split into three parts. First one is going to be going over all the films of 2022 that I watched. I obviously didn't watch everything. I didn't get around to everything that I wanted to watch, so this is just going to be talking about the ones that I did get to. And I'm going to do like a little top 5 or something like that at the end there. Next up, going to be talking about the state of my channel, where it's going, how this past year has been, also about Banana Box and the podcast and a lot of stuff. And the last part is going to be some shout-outs, talking about people in the community that I think are doing cool things, people that have helped me, people that I'm friends with. Yeah. Cool people. So yeah. So we're going to start out here. I got my letterbox pulled up on my phone. Also, on TeePublic, I don't know if some of you know, this is a brief thing. You can order phone cases, and it's more than just t-shirts. So I have Banana Box releasing phone case. If you want like any of the Shock and Schlock stuff or any of Otter's designs, you can get them on a lot of stuff like cups, these, yeah, whatever. But anyway, so first up is going to be Licorice Pizza. That was the first movie of the year I watched. I believe it came out in 2021, but it was like literally came out on New Year's or New Year's Eve. So I'm including in the 2022 list. There's 2 movies on here that are questionable if they're actually from 2022. 2022. Thank you to the Amish watchers, by the way. Shout out to the Amish watchers. You guys are the best. But anyway, Licorice Pizza, Paul Thomas Anderson. Great film. Not his best. The pacing's a little off. I've seen it a couple of times at this point. The story's great, the acting's great, the music is great, the cinematography's great. I mean, it's a Paul Thomas Anderson is one of my personal favorite directors, and this is going to come as no surprise to anybody from hearing this. This list is going to have some, films that are not horror. I'm going to be talking about some stuff this year as well that's going to be coming up. Later in this video discussing that's not going to be horror related either, that I hope people enjoy, and I'm going to be doing a Paul Thomas Anderson video sometime in the future, so just keep an eye out for that as well. But Licorice Pizza, lower tier Paul Thomas Anderson for me personally, but that's just considering how great of a filmmaker he is in general, with stuff like, There Will Be Blood, Boogie Nights, The Master. Yeah, this is definitely one of his least great films, in my opinion. It's still a great movie, but it had a couple of pacing issues. There's a point in the film where you think the film is going to be over, and then it goes on for another like 45 minutes, and it's kind of just odd that it's placed in that way. But yeah, there's a lot of fun cameos in this. It's funny. Yeah, recommended for sure if you haven't seen it. Next up's going to be Spider-Man No Way Home. I, like a lot of people, grew up watching Spider-Man, like the Tobey Maguire ones. I even enjoyed the Andrew Garfield ones. I think he was a good Spider-Man. I think the movies were not very good, though. And Tom Holland is a fine Spider-Man, and I think the movies are fine. I don't have any problem with like Marvel movies. They're not my personal favorite, but I've seen most of them. And I've seen all the Spider-Man films, all the way through, other than like the 60s or 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever era that was, show and that sort of stuff. Grew up watching Spider-Man, grew up reading Spider-Man comics and everything, so this is a Spider-Man fan's opinion of this film. I think it's okay. It's a fun movie, but the main drawing point is that fan service there and like the cameos. But if you took that away and it was somebody else playing those 2 Spider-Man characters, like that wasn't Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, film wouldn't be what it is. So I don't know how to feel about it. It's a fun movie, but at the end of the day, it's I could take it or leave it. It's not like up to the par of like the original 3 Spider-Man movies. And yeah, whatever. Next up is Scream 5, just titled Scream. Another one that I know some people that spooky celluloid, and some people that watch the channel don't like the Scream series. That's fine. I personally do. I'm not like a super fan, but I have seen the first one several times. I've seen the second one several times. Third and fourth one are fine. And this one of the better sequels, I would say. It's fun, slightly less self-referential as like the previous 2 entries compared to this, so that was a nice change of pace as well. Wish we got more Sidney Prescott, just to sort of close out her story a little bit better. I know we got quite a bit of her, but I just wish it was like she was a main character, and I don't know. As it stands, though, pretty fun slasher movie. Could definitely do worse. Not going to be in my top 5, but it's still worth a mention here. Next up is Fresh. A very surprising movie for me, because I enjoyed it much more than I expected to. Not to say that it's a perfect film, but it is much better than I expected. For anybody that doesn't know, Fresh is sort of like a mix of a romantic comedy tropes a little bit with like cannibal kidnapper horror. It's on Hulu. Fun little movie. I think the pacing is actually good. It starts out for a while like establishing these characters and having this romantic plot line where this woman is like going, she's not dating, like the dating game is not treating her well. She meets a guy that thinks is great, and then it turns out that he's a cannibal. And yeah, and is selling body parts and stuff. So that's fun. I think the pacing the latter half of the film is a little off. I think the characters become a little too like cartoonish. Didn't care for the ending as much. But as a whole, it's pretty fun. It goes places that I didn't expect it to. It was much harsher than I expected, considering what people were saying about it. And, while not in my top 5, it is a fun little movie. These next few are going to be very negative reviews, just letting you know. It's okay if you like these films, but bear with me. These I did not review. Most of these I haven't reviewed in full on the channel. Some of them I have. So the ones I have reviewed, I'm going over quick. But next up is going to be Death on the Nile. One of the least memorable films of the year. I literally had to look up the Wikipedia to even remember what this film was about. So, yeah, just another Hercule Poirot movie. It's well acted for the most part. It's well shot for the most part, but it's incredibly boring, incredibly forgettable. Didn't really care what was happening to anybody. So, not even going to pay much attention to it. It's probably my bottom 5 of the year. Next up is going to be the Uncharted movie. Another one of my bottom 5 of the year. Just a very generic action movie. Every actor sort of dials it in. Can't remember almost anything about the film. As a big fan of the games, it was a big disappointment. It's just very soulless and silly, and I don't think Tom Holland was a good Nathan Drake. Mark Wahlberg definitely reeled it in on this one. Not a fan. Next up is Texas Chainsaw 2022. Oh, Lord. The acting in this film, I'm sure a lot of people have already seen this or know what it's about, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time going over that. It's sort of... it's not great. It's like trying to show Texas Chainsaw Massacre in like this hyper online Gen Z generation. The dialogue's very cringeworthy. It's shot very bland for the most part. It does look okay in some parts. There's a part in a sunflower patch that looks pretty cool. I liked the return of the character from the original film. But the rest of the characters suck. I'm sorry if you like the film, but that's how I feel. Kills are fine. Nothing to write home about. Um, it's not my least favorite film of the year. It's definitely not close to the top of the films of the year, but it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix and you're looking for a Sunday afternoon watch, go for it. Deadstream, I already reviewed that on the channel, but found footage streamer goes to a haunted house, sort of like Evil Dead. Pretty fun little movie. Watched it again since my initial time. Liked it a little bit less the second time, but still a fun movie. So, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay. So now we're getting to some very, very, very good stuff. For anybody who doesn't know, the filmmakers that made this made Swiss Army Man, which is one of my favorite films of all time. And this one is sort of like a multiverse film about this aging Chinese family, and she gets her and her husband get I said family, so a woman, her husband, and their daughter all get caught up in this multiverse thing, and she has to save the world by connecting with her previous, or not previous, her alternate reality, the mother in this alternate reality versions of herself, and it shows all these realities, and you have to combine them to save the world. Super fun, super crazy, super to the top. Great acting though, great cinematography. The music's fantastic. Laugh out loud, funny several times. It'll touch you. This Swiss Army Man. This film it's a really beautiful film under all the weirdness, and it will probably connect with a lot of people. I love this film. I will probably do a full video in the future on this one, so I don't want to talk about it a ton. Just know, if you haven't seen this, it's essential viewing. In my top 5 of the year. Really great. Not as good as Swiss Army Man, in my personal opinion. A lot of people are going to disagree with that, but that movie has a personal connection with me, so take that how you will. Next up, after Everything Everywhere All at Once, is my least favorite film of the year. I could do an entire video about this film, about how bad it is. But I'm going to try to do it in 2 minutes, or less. Gone in the Night, directed by Eli Horowitz. I am going to talk about what this film is about because it is dog shit. And if you like this film, I'm sorry, but I know opinions are opinions, but in this case you are wrong, because this film is so bad. And if you haven't watched it, I hope this turns you off of it, because it's freaking awful. So it's about this couple. They go to the woods for a romantic getaway. They go to this Airbnb. There's another couple there. Why? We don't know. They accidentally double booked it. It's probably going to sound, this is starting to sound like a movie we all watched this year that's pretty good. They go there, and then this weird romantic things happen between the couple that visits, the boyfriend of that and the girlfriend of the other couple. They wake up the next day, those two are gone, and blah blah blah. Mystery. It's a thriller, I suppose. It's the least thrilling thriller of all time. This movie is boring as hell. The acting is bad. Winona Ryder, I'm not as hot on her as a lot of people are as an actress. I think she's fine. I watched Stranger Things, and I've seen Heathers, and all that stuff. But she really dialed it in this, because this movie is nothing. I don't think anything can say this movie with the script it has, but the twist ending in this film, oh my god, awful. And it makes the entire movie mean nothing, and it is incredibly stupid. Don't watch Gone in the Night. It is the worst film of the year. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, because it is brutally terrible. So anyway, next up is X. I already talked about it. Great slasher throwback from Ty West. Mia Goth, great in that film, of course. Kills are great. Love the aesthetic and style. Actually liked it better the second time I watched it, so yeah, highly recommended X if you haven't seen it already. I'm not spending too much time on that one because I've already talked about it on the channel. So next up is going to be Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Mixed feelings in that one. If you haven't seen it or heard of it, it's sort of like I don't want to say parody, but it's almost a satire on like Gen Z. This group of 20-somethings get stuck in this mansion during a hurricane, and then this party game called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies goes horribly wrong, and people start dying left and right, and there's like everybody's turning against each other, and you have to find out what's happening. That's the basic synopsis of the film. Obviously, I'm going through these quick because, I don't want to keep the video 10 minutes per movie here. That would be ridiculous. The acting is decent, but the characters do get annoying in the film, in my opinion. I know they're supposed to be like caricatures of Gen Z kids, but they are still annoying. Didn't really care for much of the cast. I thought the pacing was good, though. Shot well. I know a lot of people like this one. I was kind of lukewarm on it. Thought the ending was pretty good, though. It did make up for a lot of shortcomings. So, that's one. If you haven't seen, check it out for yourself. Maybe not like a purchase and then watch for the first time film. Maybe like a rental. Check it out, though. Next up is going to be The Bad Guys. The first animated film on here from DreamWorks. And yeah, it was pretty good. I know a lot of people liked this movie. I initially put it on just because I wanted to watch something on Netflix while I was, making some stuff on Christmas. I ended up really enjoying it. It had several laugh-out-loud funny parts. For those of you who don't know, it's about this group of criminals, and they're like the typical like cartoon, fairy tale criminal people. Like the big bad wolf, there's a shark, a piranha, a snake, and they do like heist, and the wolf decides one day that he wants to be good, and yeah, sort of goes like that. The good guys, or the bad guys become the good guys, or they try to, and it's like a heist movie though, and it's almost like Ocean's 11 animated. The voice acting in this is surprisingly great. The animation's really good. The pacing's really good. It's a great family movie. Really like laugh out loud, funny several times too. Highly recommended. Not going to be in my personal top 5, but for families that need something to watch that's not like just silly stuff. I feel like a lot of kids movies these days really like dumb it down to cater to kids because they're like, kids don't care about the quality of the film. This is a quality film. So yeah, check it out. Recommended for families, even if you're just alone and you're looking for something to watch on a Sunday afternoon or something. It's a good movie. Next up is going to be Incantation. Not my favorite film of the year, not my least favorite. Decent little horror movie. It's about a woman who was, she's protecting her kid from a curse. There's not like a ton of anything in this that goes out of its way to be different, but it has its spooky moments. Some jump scares. It's a fun little party movie, or if you're looking for something on Netflix late at night, it's a fun little Asian horror movie. Do I highly recommend it? No, but I do recommend it. Especially it's on Netflix, so I mean it's easy to try. Next up is going to be Men. Men. I really like this movie, okay, but I do have some issues with it. It's about this woman who undergoes this like very horrific event. She moves to the countryside and starts getting like harassed and followed by various men that all have the same face. And yeah, also I can't spoil the ending of this because the ending is either going to make or break the movie for you. But I heard a lot of people talk about like how this is like an A24 film that feels like a parody or a spoof of an A24 film because it's like everything is like what you'd expect from like that type of thing. And I know A24 is just like the releasing studio, but you know what I mean, like an A24 horror film has a feel. And there are things in it that you look for, you know. So the film almost feels like a self-parody at some points by everything being so like on the nose. It's a satire really about misogyny and men. Like, men are bad. It's a little deeper than that, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. And yeah, it's imperfect, but a good film. Next up is going to be Crimes of the Future. I reviewed this on the channel a while ago as well. Not one of Cronenberg's best, but still a good movie. Sort of combines political elements with, body horror and all this stuff, that he's known for. It's sort of like about people like adapting this new like synthetic like mechanical environment where the body can like undergo like these different transformations and stuff for like style and artistic nature, body modifications, and surgery is like this grand performance, and it's very erotic and stuff. It's very Cronenberg. I do think the pacing could have been a little tighter. It does drag occasionally. There are some things that are sort of nonsensical just to be weird, I think, but it is a solid film. Check it out if you're a Cronenberg fan. Everybody else, this probably won't convert you if you're not a fan of Cronenberg already, which you should be, but yeah, it's pretty good. Next is going to be Jurassic World Dominion. Haven't been a fan, really, of the Jurassic World movies. But each entry progressively gets worse, and Jurassic World Dominion, no different. Incredibly poorly paced, super boring. The characters are stupid. It's just awful. Awful movie. Don't want to talk about it very much. It's not a movie I'm going to sway you on one way or another. I personally hated it, so yeah. Next up is Vengeance. This one was a big surprise to me. So this one followed this man named Ben, who's a journalist, a podcaster, and he goes to West Texas after he's told that a woman that he had been sleeping with had been killed, and she had mentioned him for whatever reason. He doesn't remember her because he's like a playboy, whatever. And he goes there, and it sort of turns in this whole thing, and he starts a podcast about trying to find this girl's killer and what happened. Didn't expect a lot from this film, but I actually really enjoyed it. It goes a lot darker than you'd expect. It's also very, genuine, I would say. B.J. Novak, most people know him from The Office, as Ryan, directed and stars in this film, and he actually does a really good job. This is a really good film. It's written very well. It's paced very well. It's interesting the entire way. I think the ending is a little over the top for what the film was. And it doesn't really wrap up in a satisfying fashion, in my opinion, which drops a little bit lower, but away from that, really good film. Highly recommended. I'm going to take a drink, guys. I'm sorry. This is a long video. I'm not used to it. Next up. Jerry and Marge Go Large. Based on a true story about the couple who plays the lottery. And they find a loophole that lets them win every time they play. And they just game the lottery. Sounds like a crime thriller, I guess, but it is based off a true story. It's more of just like a wholesome character study about two elderly people playing the lottery. Could take it or leave it. Feels very much like a Hallmark movie, something like that, but it's decent for a family movie. Don't have a lot to say about it. The acting is fine. Bryan Cranston is always good and everything, so yeah. If you need something to watch with family, you could do worse. You could also do better. So next up is going to be Mark Polonius' Sharkula. Already reviewed that on the channel for 5S. Yeah, not great. It's okay though. You know, the Sharkula, whatever. Not my favorite Polonium movie by a mile. There have been much worse shark movies this year though, so yeah. Next up is going to be Bullet Train. This one may even make it into my top 5 of the year. We'll see. I'm looking through these. So Bullet Train is a very complicated movie because there's a lot of like interconnecting everything, but it's essentially about this assassin who's very unlucky, and all of his missions always go off the rails, but he always like survives by like this weird luck. He's like unlucky, but he's also very lucky. He's on this train in Japan to try to get this package, but then it causes him to like encounter like all these other assassins that are also after the package and all have ulterior motives, and they all connect to this like one crime boss. Yeah, that's the little brief synopsis on it. This is a really good film. It's shockingly so, actually. Really great acting. The action set pieces are awesome. The comedy is spot on. It's actually genuinely very funny. It's much more violent than expected, which, you know, this movie feels like sort of like a Deadpool-esque film, but without superheroes, and yeah, I enjoyed it a little bit more than Deadpool, just because of that. I know the director made Deadpool 2, which is where that comparison comes from as well, but it is a really good, fun, well-made film. Next up is going to be All Jacked Up and Full of Worms. I am going to be doing a full review on the channel, so I'm going to go over this one very briefly. Spooky already did a review of this as well. I did quite enjoy this one. I didn't love it, like Spooky said, but it is very fun about these worms that like cause people to have psychedelic, like LSD visions after they eat them or snort them or inject them, and it's really weird. There's a lot of worms and weird horror stuff, and it's crazy and fun and good. Do I hear top 5 of the year? Maybe. It feels very much like The Greasy Strangler as far as like the tone goes, so if you like that film, watch this. Next up is going to be Nope. Jordan Peele. I'm not, once again, like I said about Winona Ryder, as a director, I'm not super hot on him, or as much as everybody else was. Get Out was a great film. Us, I really didn't enjoy at all, actually. And Nope, not quite as good as Get Out, but it's a good movie. I can't even really talk about this one at all, because you should go into this one blind. We'll just say, you know, there's otherworldly things in this. As far as like quality goes, I think it's way over long. The pacing is way off. But I think the acting's good. I think the general premise of the film is good. I think there are a lot of good set pieces in this. It has the scariest film from a Jordan Peele movie in it. And yeah, I recommend it. Next up is going to be Glorious, a movie that Spooky hates, so obviously I'm going to talk about how good it is. It's not great. That was a joke. About a man trapped in a bathroom at a rest stop, told that he can save the universe by this like elder god that's in a stall next to him. It's a glory hole joke, drawn out to about 2 hours or an hour and a half. But the acting is fine, and the story is fine. J.K. Simmons is the voice of this elder god. Has a couple funny moments. It goes darker than some places, but not my favorite movie of the year. But it's on Shudder, so if you haven't checked it out yourself, maybe you may enjoy it. Next up is going to be Prey, the newest Predator movie. People are going to hate me for this, but personally, this movie left me really cold. Found the pacing to be very slow. Didn't really care for many of the characters at all. I did like the action scenes. I liked the premise. I thought it was shot really well. I liked the music. But I think like the cast and everything, it was fine, but not my favorite. Like I didn't. The cast actually does a good job. I just don't care for the characters, I guess. And the story I just found a little bland. So next up is going to be Day Shift. Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, and Snoop Dogg in a movie about killing vampires, and it's a horror comedy. It's about what you'd expect. Very mediocre. Tries to be like Men in Black, but never is that funny. So another movie I could take or leave. Next up is going to be Sharks Out of the Moon. I already reviewed it for 5S on the channel. Fine little Asylum Sci-Fi Channel shark movie about humanoid sharks on the moon. Not as crazy as you would probably hope, but it is decent fun if you are into terrible, terrible shark movies. So, yeah. Next up is going to be Terrifier 2. Another one that I already talked about on the channel. Great kills. Haven't really found myself wanting to watch it again, though. The pacing is good, but it is long, and it's just not a film that I've wanted to sit down and watch, a 2.5 hour slasher movie all the time. But probably going to be one of my tops of the year, to be honest. Because it was it's such a fun theater experience for me. And that's definitely going to affect that. I think the kills are way gorier than expected. Art the Clown's a great, modern killer. I think the acting was good. The cinematography's great. Music's good. Yeah, it's just that length for the most part. Whew. Next up, we got Barbarian. Yeah, I'm sure everybody and their mother has watched this movie at this point. Another movie about a double booked Airbnb. This will be one of my top films of the year, by the way. And they find some crazy stuff in the basement, and things may not be what they seem. Don't want to spoil it for anybody who didn't watch it, but great cinematography, great twist, great acting, great music, really fun villain, some great set pieces. Zach Krager, have been a fan since The Whitest Kids You Know, like a lot of people. And we need more comedians turned horror directors, because this is spot on. Favorite movie theater experience of the year by far. Next up is going to be Pearl. I already talked about this on the channel. You're going to see it in the top 5, but, following Pearl from X, the prequel to X, is like a character study like Psycho, brought to modern times. Great acting. Stellar acting, I would say. Almost Oscar-worthy. Great story. Cinematography is beautiful. Ty West's best movie, by far. Don't Worry, Darling. Another movie that I'm kind of here or there on. It's not as bad as I expected. I know a lot of people hated this movie. I didn't hate it. I just think it's very overlong. About this idyllic community. That things may not be what they seem. It felt very Stepford Wives-esque. But, yeah, whatever. It's okay. The Munsters. Not my favorite Rob Zombie movie, but a fun little family movie. Inoffensive. It's overly long. You're going to hear me say that. You've heard me say that a lot of movies this year. Movies are getting too long, guys. They need to cut it back. If you don't have 2 hours of the story, stop making 2-hour movies. I know this one wasn't even 2 hours, but you didn't even have an hour and a half worth of story, and it's an hour and 50 minutes. So the acting is fine. Everything kind of looks like it's from a Spirit Halloween store, though. But yeah, if you grew up watching The Munsters like I did, it's a fun little movie. It's a good kids movie, but it's another one that's well. Next one is My Best Friend's Exorcism. I read the book of this. I really enjoyed it. Movie sucks. Awful. Awful acting, awful cinematography, everything. It's awful special effects. The story is jumbled. The makeup is just bizarre. What they do to the characters for whatever reason, like they try to make them look too like they look like caricatures of teenagers because they use so much makeup and stuff. It's just stupid. Not funny. Not entertaining. One of my least favorite films of the year. Don't watch it. If you read the book, don't watch it. Ugh. Grady Hendrix should have never let his book get turned into a movie if it was this. So yeah. Next up is going to be Debbie Does Demons. This is a special case too because this is probably going to be a 2023 movie for most people. Because it hasn't been released on Blu-ray. I was given the screener by Donald Farmer. One of Donald Farmer's best modern movies. Fun, funny, silly, entertaining. Good stuff. Magnum opus from Addison Binnick. Really enjoyed it. I will be interviewing Addison soon about this. Sort of like him growing up through the years. I already reviewed it on the channel, so this is just brief. Growing up through the years, doing Jackass style stunts with his friends. Really enjoyed it. Captures childhood really well. One of my favorites of the year from like independent filmmakers. Really good. Definitely go buy it. Buy Psycho Ape. Support Addison. Good guy. So yeah. Next up is gonna be 3 in a row again of terrible movies that I hate. Oh boy. Christmas, Bloody Christmas. I know some people really enjoyed this film, but dear God, I hated it. I'm not a Joe Begos fan. I know a lot of people are as well, but the over 400 uses the word fuck in less than an hour and a half is so grating. This movie feels like it was written by a 12-year-old. Everything, all the dialogue is just very crass and like weirdly jilted, like not clever at all sexual dialogue for the most part. It's about a killer like Terminator Santa Claus coming alive on Christmas and killing people. But the characters are terrible. The acting is terrible. The dialogue is the worst I've heard in a film this year. I could go on and on. I want to do a fuller review of this eventually, just because I hate it so much, but it would be such a long review. Just know, dialogue is awful. I hate this movie. The gore is not even very good. The neon thing is getting old from Joe Begos. I hated the characters to the point that I almost thought about turning off this movie. It's an hour and a half movie that feels like 3 hours. Please don't watch this if you haven't already. Probably this is probably tied for my least favorite film of the year. Next up is another film that is in that bottom tier. Grim Cuddy. One of the least entertaining films I've ever seen. A movie that I saw on Hulu. I had to look this up to even remember because my mind tried to push this down. A suburban teen girl and her little brother must stop a terrifying internet meme brought to life by the hysteria of their parents. This movie feels like a Darman video, stretched to an hour and a half, and somehow has slasher elements with the dumbest characters ever. Some of the worst acting I've ever seen in a movie. The worst CGI I have seen this year. The worst pacing. It's dog shit. Don't watch this movie. It's terrible. Next up is going to be Halloween Ends. Now, I know some people like it, and some people really hate it, and I fall in the latter, unfortunately. I know some people are going to be mad at me for saying that, because I know some people like this, but I'm not trying to just fall in with the crowd by not liking this movie. I'm going to provide some reasoning. But, Halloween Ends, 13th Halloween movie, I believe. Laurie Strode's back, Michael Myers is back, and after dying in pretty much every movie he's in, Michael Myers is finally actually dying. Sort of. He's like old, and he's in this sewer. And then this young man is accused of killing a boy that he was babysitting, also in the town. And then he somehow connects with Michael Myers and wants to be like him, despite being like sort of like the tragic character in the beginning. Oh boy. Here's the reason I didn't like Halloween Ends, okay? Now I know the people that like this movie like it, a lot of them for, it doing something new. And having Michael Myers almost take a side story to this other kid that's wanting to take over for him and showing how like this evil is like this universal thing. And it's not just about the character. But to me, as somebody who grew up with the original and has seen all of these films, I just wanted something more fulfilling for the ending to Michael and Laurie Strode's story, because at the core of it, that is what it is to me. And there are other films that you could do that with, like, there are other films that do stuff where it's like, showing this same concept, but I didn't want it to be a Halloween movie. Yeah, it was just really disappointing to me. I thought the ending was really silly. I think the acting was fine, and the story was fine. It's just, for a movie that's supposed to be like Halloween ending, this is not what I wanted. I wanted to be like a final thing between Laurie and Michael, and we do get that, but it's not the focal point of the movie. Yeah, it's a film that I think would be better if it was like, if you cut the ending and you had this like thing with Michael and kind of like recovering and giving advice to this kid, or the kid wanting to learn from him, and make it not the last film. That's my issue. Next up is going to be Split from Mike Gardenia and Jack Mulvanerde. I've already did 2 reviews on that, so I'm not going to talk about it a lot. Very innovative, shocking stuff, and definitely one of the most memorable of the year for me. Next up is going to be my final 4 of the year. Spirited with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. Retelling of A Christmas Story, or A Christmas Carol. As a musical once again, but it's more comedic, and it's like one of the ghosts of Christmas past wants to not do that anymore, and he becomes friends with the guy that he's trying to like recover or get to be good. This is another one that surprised me. It's surprisingly fun, and the music is pretty good. The acting's fun. That's not going to break any new ground, but for Christmas movies, this is probably going to be in my rotation for a while to come. So, yeah, recommended. Next up is going to be Defilement of a Porcelain Doll. Going to be interviewing Jonathan Doe tomorrow, actually, to talk about this one. So, obviously, enjoyed it. I think it's a little over long, but that's my main issue with it. So, yeah. Coming down to the last 2. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I have talked to people about this movie a lot, and a lot of people are probably going to think I'm joking, but this is... Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is the best movie that DreamWorks has ever put out, and you can mark my words on that. I am including the original Shrek, I'm including How to Train Your Dragon, and everything. I hated the first Puss in Boots movie, and I didn't expect this one to be very good, because I hated the first one so much. But this one, it's amazing. I'm not joking. This is not one of those meme videos. Puss in Boots in this film, I mean, the story is like, it's a family movie, so, Puss in Boots, the character from Shrek, and a fairy tale character, discovers that being a cat, he has 9 lives, and 8 of these lives have been used up. So he's on his 9th one. He's getting hunted down by death. So he wants to set out on this journey to get this last wish, which is like a mythical item that can grant any wish, and he wants to get his 9 lives back. Genuinely some of the best animation that I've seen in years. This is genuinely a great adventure movie. The voice acting is spot on. It's genuinely touching. It's much darker than I expected. The character of Death in this is like this wolf character, and he's genuinely terrifying. When I watched this in the theater, I watched it with my girlfriend. There was a kid crying because it was scary. So this may not be for like the younger audience actually, despite it being like a Shrek affiliated thing. And it's genuinely hilarious though, and it's great. And I can't say enough good stuff about this one. It's genuinely one of the best pieces of animation I've seen in a very long time. So there's like a mix of animation styles and great music. And yeah, it's paced really well. And it was great, genuinely. So yeah. Last film of the year is going to be Puppet Shark. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I'm reviewing it on Shark Saturday next week. So, shark movie with all puppets, though. A little bit more tame than expected. Not terrible, but not great. So, yeah. Now, that was it. We're coming down to the top 5 of the year. I'm going to start at the bottom. At number 5. So, number 5 of the year. Is going to be All Jacked Up and Full of Worms. Definitely check it out on Amazon Prime. You can buy it there. Hopefully it gets a Blu-ray soon too. But yeah, check it out. Number 4. I'm sorry, I'm just looking through this. Number 4 of the year for me has to go to Terrifier 2. Yeah, just really enjoyed it. I'm planning on rewatching soon. The length holds it back slightly, but genuinely ambitious, and one of the best slasher films in a very long time. Number 3 is going to be Barbarian. What else can I say? Number 2 is going to be Pearl. Love that film. It almost became number 1. And number 1, my film of the year. You're not ready. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Yes, you heard it here. My top film is an animated DreamWorks film. Please watch it so you understand what I'm talking about. But anyway, nearing 48 minutes into the video, I'm finally around to talking about the state of my channel. Hit 410 subs recently. Thank you so much for that. Just under a year of being on YouTube. The amount of support that I've received has been fantastic. I've made so many friends on here. That's for the shout out section. But yeah, thank you to everyone subscribed that's watching these videos. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the suggestions, for everything. I have started watching some films that I've been backed up on that people have suggested, and I'm, going to start talking about that. And I do have the names already that's written, suggested these, so I'm going to be naming them as well as a thank you. I've discovered a lot of great films. I've gotten to be on the Sick on Cinema podcast, who I'm dear friends with now, both of them. Have gotten to interview so many cool people this year. More of that to come this year. Banana Box releasing started as just this little passion project, and it has taken off more than I or my girlfriend or anyone could have imagined. So thank you for everything that you do, genuinely from the bottom of my heart. If you support Banana Box, if you watch my channel, thank you. Personally, from me, you are all dearly appreciated. And I'm looking forward to new stuff. Got several Banana Box collaborations coming this year. We have a Deathmatch Wrestling release. We have a series of short films, potentially. We have new mixtapes that we're distributing. We have new stuff from us personally. We have a new box set that'll be coming out. There's just so much going on with Banana Box. I'm very excited about it. Very excited about the channel. I'm working on a new mixtape. I've been working on it for a while, but hopefully it's my best to date. So keep an eye out for that. Hopefully going to be releasing a couple of short films with Banana Box that I made this year. And yeah, it's just, I'm very thankful for all of you for 2022. 2023 is going to be even bigger. So keep an eye out. Lots of stuff coming down the pipeline. Okay, shout outs and thank yous. I'm going to start this one off as like a transition because one of the reasons that I started my channel was to interview the filmmaker Scott Philip Gergens. And without him, this channel would not exist. Banana Box wouldn't exist because I wouldn't have started any of this. All this is connected and it all leads back to there. So Scott Philip Gergens, director of 29 Needles, great artist, great human being. Check out 29 Needles. Thank you to him. The rest of the people that I interviewed this year, that's going to be Addison Binnick. I'm interviewing him again soon. Great guy. First person to ever send me a screener copy of a film to review on my channel. Genuinely appreciative of that as well. Felicia Fisher, of course, star of Barf Money, up-and-comer, like, fan favorite, extreme horror icon, sort of. Cult figure, great person. Thank you for that. I hope to interview her again soon. Super nice, super great. Nothing but good things to say about all these people. Miss Sock, star of I Cut Your Flesh. That interview is fantastic. Yeah, really enjoyed talking about that, getting like a little bit of enlightenment there, so thank you to her. Next up is going to be, sorry, I've just interviewed so many people. Donald Farmer, thank you so much. That was such a surreal moment to interview Donald Farmer about films and filmmaking and his films, and great guy, great conversation, genuinely one of the nicest people I've met online. Jeroen Bell, I don't know why I said Bijou, gosh. From Horrible Reviews, thank you. Genuinely another fantastic human being. Another person that was very enlightening and surreal to speak to and is genuinely extremely nice. And yeah, nothing but good things to say about everybody here. I believe that is all that I interviewed. Yeah, so shout out to them. Shout out to the filmmakers who have sent me screener copies for my videos. Donald Farmer once again, Addison Binnick once again, Jack Mulvanurdy for his 2 films that he sent me, also for supporting Banana Box. Just thank you. Great guy. Watch his films. They're very interesting. Daniel from Our Gardenia, thank you for sending me the great care package for Split and all that stuff. Jason from Toxic Filth Video, I want to give a shout out there too. Haven't gotten around to reviewing the films yet, unfortunately, but I am going to be reviewing several Toxic Filth Video releases soon. He sent me screeners for those to review for the channel as well, so thank you. Tanner Tubach from Unboxed, Watched, and Reviewed, thank you. One of my favorite channels, obviously. I'm a huge fan of Tanner's. Friend of mine, friend of the show. Reviewed my mixtape on his channel. Has done a lot for me personally. Great guy. Nothing but good things to say about him. Same with Smashmind. Reviewed my mixtapes on his channel. Another genuinely great human being and friend of mine. Spooky Celluloid, even though he's a margarine-eating bastard, is a dear friend of mine. And our podcast, The Open Casket, has been the most fun I've had online in a long time. And yeah, always Sick on Cinema, John and Matt, my favorite podcast probably. Listen to all their episodes. Was a guest on there. Great guys, good friends of mine. Definitely check their stuff out if you haven't. Also, while I'm on podcast, Our Bloody Obsession podcast, Kelly from there, another very nice human being, great podcast as well. Check that out for sure. Next up is going to be Lucifer Valentine. Not Lucifer. I'm so stupid. Lucifer Dahmer. I'm very sorry. The names, I don't know why I said that, but Lucifer Dahmer. Both for sending me their films and allowing me to distribute Asphalt and Salad, as well as being a very nice human being and friend. So thank you for that as well. More Banana Box shoutouts. Not That Mixtape for his friendship, of course. For Retro Mutagen, my distribution of it. For If Someone Sold You This, Punch Them in the Fucking Mouth, for distribution of that. Ziggy Zombie, for, once again, his friendship. For helping Banana Box get off the ground. Japanathon was one of the first things we distributed. And yeah, once again, would never have Banana Box releasing without him, so thank you. Mayuko.arts on Instagram for her artwork on our Blood Runner release with Banana Box. Slippy Mudman for their music for that release. Genuinely really appreciative of both of those. Of course, with Banana Box, my lovely girlfriend and partner, Oddart. Check her out on Instagram. I always leave her link down below. Check her out on TeePublic. She does the art for all of her stuff. So, yeah. Once again, Sick on Cinema for allowing me to distribute the mixtape Born to Lose 1 and 2. Both really fun. Make sure to message me for those if you haven't already gotten your copy. Because they're really fun tapes. Dead Format Films for releasing the Totally Twatted trilogy. And for the friendship as well. Don't want to give any names for anybody because, Dead Format is like the place, but yeah. DT Records for his friendship, our collaboration with the Mute release with Banana Box, for just being a cool dude. Thank you. Genuinely. Thank you. Who else? We just had so much going on. Fellow Desaad Media on Instagram for his help with me getting a lot of stuff. His friendship, great dude. Follow him on there. Post some great stuff. He does stuff with Sam Hell. Silas Massoff, ex Psychonaut X on Instagram for supporting Banana Box. His cool art. These are just shoutouts as well for people that I think are doing cool stuff. Judith Sonnet for her friendship and the awesome writing. If you like splatterpunk and you want to support queer horror and everything like that, make sure to read her books. I always really enjoy those. Yeah. Sam Hell, once again, for making the cool films. I love his stuff. He's going to be coming on the podcast soon with hopefully Wolvie Iron Bear as well. So those two will be very fun to talk to. Spoken to Sam several times. Great guy. So, yeah, thanks for that. Aaron Hummel, Reaper of the Films on Instagram. Good friend of mine. Helped my Instagram page significantly with that. Good friend of mine. So thank you there. Debauched Debriefs. Another good friend of mine. Helped Banana Box get started in the beginning. Nothing but good things to say about him there. Let's do, speaking of Dead Format, Mr. Horse and Dog, for the Dog and Horse Show. Dead Format Films. Check both those out for your smut, B-movies, shot on video stuff. Both great guys. Really cool stuff. Also want to shout out Hotel for Bugs on Instagram as well. The partner of Dog. And she made some really cool like buttons. John Willie buttons that are really cool. I ordered there. She did buttons for dog stuff with the Dog and Horse Show as well. So yeah, shout out to them. Let's see. Who else have I not talked about? Yeah. My good friend, oh gosh, I forgot his main account name, and I don't want to name drop people by name because some people want to remain, anonymous. It's Frau Undergrunden, I believe. I'm going to be distributing his mixtape with Banana Box as well. Great guy. Really helped me get started. Was one of the first Banana Box customers, and we became good friends. So, Lost by Soul 71 on Instagram. Thank you. Once again, one of the original Banana Box supporters, good friend. One of my original subscribers. So, if you're watching this, thank you. Let's see. Key to the Collector, of course. How could I forget about Key to the Collector? Good friend of mine, and once again, one of the coolest people in the underground community, doing like the bootleg DVDs and all that stuff. I've bought from him several times, trade with him quite a bit. Good friend of mine. I'm not a personal fan of gore mixtapes, but it's fine. If you are, go to him for your needs because he's certainly a much better person to buy from than most people. Regarding that. And yeah, just really helped me get started as well. Really great guy. Derailer Zach on Instagram, thank you for the friendship. Follow him. One of the original Banana Box people as well. Wild Wolf from Chesterfield, another one of the original people that bought from Banana Box, thank you. Andre Castro. Real Shopping Cart on Instagram. He had a clip in my mixtape Dick Twist, good friend of mine as well. So yeah, Brandon Terry for the short film Deviant, as well as his new one that'll be coming out. I got the screener of, and it's really good. Great guy. The Morbid Horror Podcast is really good as well, so check that out. Underworld Subroxa. Shout out to Rick and the website and Mrs. Rick. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. But both of you are really cool. Underworld Subroxa, what can you say? They're just a great underground film website to buy stuff from, and you should do that. It's, yeah. Aaron Beauregard, writer, another cool guy. Going to be doing some book reviews this year, and that's another person that I wanted to mention. The Cult of the Sponge, for being one of the original followers of my Instagram page, and a good, a friend of mine. Thank you for that. Filthina Pig. I've already talked about Lucifer Dahmer, but like the combo, both of them are, same person, but different, whatever. Yeah. Check out Filthina Pig stuff on Motherless and from me with Ass Vomit Salad and everything, so... Yeah, retro release video for the 6 VHS releases. I've bought from them several times now. Really cool stuff. Ossuary Angel, I've spoken to her several times. Super nice person. Just wanted to shout out her really quick. She plays the vampire in Vania as well. So, yeah. Yeah. I think that's... We're getting to the end there. Human Hibachi, for sending me the film. I'm waiting on the second one. I'm excited about that. For promoting my videos and everything. Really cool people. Jesse Seitz, Martin Trafford, Robin Bujiman, Surasaki Kurataka, James Bell. These names I'm just rattling off here really quick. Make sure to check them out. And yeah, closing out this over an hour long video. Thank you to all of you guys for watching this channel, supporting this. I hope to see you around this year. Keep watching the videos, keep watching the channel. Make sure to buy from Banana Box Releasing. I'm still learning at some stuff, and I just appreciate you sticking here with me. So, here's to a better 2023. Thanks, guys. And as always, I've been your host, Herschel Gillis, signing off for today. Zero thoughts, zero editing, zero brain cells, and zero planning. Thanks.